Hi, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me. Here I am. It's 9 o'clock. I got to pull a couple of things together, but I might be by myself, which is why I invited a friend to join me. That friend will join me soon. Oh, wow. I have one friend. Morning, Kate. This is nice. So, I got a little background chatter over here because we have a little crisis control if you happen to live in our community. Um, it's been a really hard week. And I almost decided, God, I'm going to start crying. No, I'm not going to cry. Hi. Yeah, it's been kind of a hard week. Good morning, Kate. And oh my gosh, I have several friends. Hi, Barb. And my friend Chris is over here chatting with my husband about some things because I thought if you guys didn't join, I'd have a friend. Hang on a second. They're being really loud, so I'm going to close the door. You can join me if you want, Chris, but you don't have to. You can keep my husband company. Since I have you guys, so it's a bit of a rainy morning. It's been a hard week. Some of you saw my post yesterday, and I know many of us are going through. Everybody I know, it's been a hard week, either because of people we've lost or the things going on in the world. So I thought I'd do this anyway because I am pretty excited. I want to tell you I kind of want to keep it to maybe 10 or so minutes, 10 or 15 minutes of me telling you a few things about my book, which I am excited about. And then, oh my gosh, I actually have a number of friends this morning. This is exciting. Hi, Rachel. And hi, Barb. And then if you guys have questions or comments as we go, please jump in. Mostly what I wanted to do was talk about my new release. I thought I'd tell you just really quickly why I decided to do it and why I decided not to try to do print copies, which most of us who are book lovers love the hard copy. And also just about kind of what I did when I put this together. And it's weird because I don't have a physical copy to hold, but some of you have seen the cover. So I've pulled up it on my iPad. And right up front, I'm going to thank my publisher. Even though I self-published this, but I learned a lot in the experience of going from a pretty detailed book or document really, that is full of high-resolution photos and a lot of formatting, is that when you push that into various ebook platforms, it's really complicated. And I thank Bedazzled Ink Publishing, my publisher, for giving me some really technical tips on how to do that. Because I think otherwise I would still be working on it and I would be looking at the things that were created on those platforms going, oh my God, it looks terrible. So I do really honor and thank them for that. So some of you, I know Barb. I know Barb has really been awesome about following my blog. So 3 years ago, more now than 3 years ago, when I had signed the contract for my book, for my memoir, My Music Man, I did start a blog. And I write a little bit about this in the intro to my new book, which was I knew I needed to work on my writing. I knew that I needed to get a following, so at least maybe 10 people might buy my book after it came out. And then I found that I loved it, and I was really blogging a lot. So in the last 3 years, I've blogged probably more than 140 times or so. So last fall, I started thinking, I've got a lot of content, and I do want to move on to a more creative fiction piece. But before I could do that, I was kind of putting my brain around I need to do something else with the blog because I have blogs that maybe 3 years ago, oh, Barb, thank you. Well, you're awesome too. I started realizing that I have newer followers who might have recently read one of my favorite blogs, which was about tips for reading in the bathtub, or how not to get electrocuted. But they may not know that I wrote a blog maybe three years ago that was about some other Oregon stuff. Oh my gosh, it's my high school chemistry teacher. Wow, that's really exciting. And I think you're in the sun if I saw your last post correctly. Here, Chris, you can say hi to the camera. Chris is joining me because she's done helping console my husband in the other room. I had all these blogs, and so what I did, this is what I decided. I would go through all the blogs that I had written in the last 3 years, and I'd first look at what were the most popular ones. So I can obviously look at the analytics and see, and there's one that's so funny. It's barges. It's about barges, and it includes some lyrics from that song many of us grew up with, right? Out of my window, looking in the night. And I will be shocked some days when I'll find people who access that, and I have no idea where they're finding it. But the point being, I went through all my blogs to find out what are the most popular. And then I knew I'm not going to include all my blogs in this book. It is going to be about Oregon. And again, the cover, it's I don't know if I can do this very well. Then, now, and in between. So my point was past and present stuff in Oregon. And then I looked at my blogs and I decided the ones I want to use for this, which does not include tips for reading in the bathtub, because that just didn't hit my topic. They really fell within 3 sections. So there's a lot about place, there's a lot about memories, and there's a lot about loss, which again, this week, kind of the loss topic has really come up a lot for me, and I think for many of us. So that was my next step, was go through, curate my blogs, decide where or if they fit at all, put them within the confines of those 3 sections. And then some of you may know, oh, hi, Miko. Hi, Corinne. This is great. I wish you were here in person, but this is really, thank you for being here. So I started, I've already lost track of my thoughts here.
In the bathtub.
No, not in the bathtub. Chris is helping me. It's not about in the bathtub. So anyway, I had all the blogs, and then I thought, I'd kind of piece them into where they go. And then I really did have to rewrite some of them, because I might have said, well, yesterday this happened and I'm writing about this today. So there was some simple changes. And then on top of that, I knew there were a few things that I wasn't covering that should be in here. And so you may realize, or you may have noticed recently, I think in the last couple months, I wrote a blog on fairies, for example, because I felt like fairies, there needs to be something about fairies. And fairies spelled Ferries, not Fairies, because that would be more along the lines of probably a book by Kate, not yet a book that I might write, or maybe Miko, you probably have fairies in your books. So that's kind of what I did next. I brought them all together. I tried to be pretty disciplined, even though I might like a certain blog, it really didn't fit within the context, just like you really have to do with memoir. And that was really kind of what I did. The whole point about why I didn't print books was there are so many high-res photos that have been part of my blog, and I wanted to include. And the other piece that I start each section with is a piece of prose. So while I am not a poet, my dear friend John Hedges, David Hedges, who's not on this morning, but he's been just a really incredible mentor for me around poetry. And he gave me a little bit of invitation to consider prose as poetry. So I do have a few pieces that maybe you've seen on my blogs before. And with all those high-res photos, I just realized if I did print copies, they would probably be, $30 to $40, and my mom might buy a copy, and maybe my brother, or maybe he'd want one for Christmas. I don't know. Chris would probably buy a copy. But the point being, I'm just going to do an ebook and get it out there, and we'll see how we do. So that's what released yesterday. I chose Oregon's birthday because it seemed to be the right day to release this piece of work. And some of you may remember last year on Oregon's birthday, it was super exciting for me because I was invited to be at the Capitol, and I did a reading of My Music Man. And my great-great-great-grandparents had a lot to do with early Salem. And in fact, the dividing line between they had a land their land claim was where Salem and Willamette University are, but because of some disagreement about their land claim, the separation between my great-great-great-grandmother Chloe's part of the property and my great-great-great-grandfather William Wilson's part is State Street. And when I gave a talk at the Capitol last year, I was actually in a hearing room where you looked out on State Street. So that was a really fun day. So yesterday was Oregon's birthday, along with Valentine's Day. And that's when my book was available. So I will post on my website. Some of you go to ddmontgomery.com, and I've recrafted some of those pages recently. So I have pages for each of my now 3 books. If you go to the page for Then, Now, and In Between, there's links to all the different platforms where you can purchase this. Yes, a lot of people go to Amazon and read on their Kindle, but you can also get it from iBooks if you like to buy books from kind of on your Apple, or Indies, or so forth. Additionally, I'm hopeful that, and maybe if patrons of libraries request it, maybe eventually it'll be on Overdrive and Biblioteca. So it is available so that if those libraries want to pick it up that way, they can. And that's kind of the little bit about my book. I did it in 12 minutes. That's pretty good. I'd love if anybody have comments or questions. I certainly can address those. I don't know what you're reading today or doing today. I know John's in the sun. Oh my gosh, that's cool. We're in a little bit of rain. I was thinking about taking my mom out to our favorite little spot down by Cedar Oak boat landing, where, because it's not busy this time of year, we can pull up really close to the river and listen to music or read. We're still reading Wind in the Willows. And that's been my recent tip to anybody to feel better, is read that book aloud. Especially read it to somebody else, and they can be an adult. It's a joyous read. And so that would be my tip for the day, is to read something really great today. I don't know, Chris, you got anything to add over there? Chris is reading a book. Here, hand me your book. She's my good friend who came here but she's reading this book right now. So I might have to borrow it. I don't think I've read it, Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks.
She's a wonderful author.
She's a wonderful author, I think. Yes. I'm reading Thorn, which is by our wonderful local author, Evan Williams. I'm forgetting a third name there. So I'd pitch that as a book of short stories. It's really great. Yeah. Okay, well, that's all I got today. Thank you all. What else should I be saying? Let me think. My next work, I'm working on that. I got a really good idea over some really bad happenings recently. So, yeah, Chris is laughing in the background. And otherwise, I've said, oh my God. Thank you all for joining me this morning. You are wonderful supporters. And, I'll just say, I'm going to say one final thing, because I think this is really important. Some of you have been writing your whole lives and publishing way longer than me. And this has been such a great experience, because I've done something new in midlife that has really opened up this creative side of me that I haven't really explored before. And it's been really meaningful. I've met wonderful friends like Kate and Miko, people I wouldn't have known before. I've reconnected with my high school chemistry teacher, which is kind of fun. I think that was through a reunion. I'm not sure. But the writing has, I believe, made me a better person. And Barb will appreciate this, because I've talked about this with all the work we do around workplace wellness. And I tell people this in my training, is that because I still have brain space when I leave my job, I'm able to pursue this other creative passion. And that makes me better at everything I do in my life. It makes me better at my job. It makes me better with the people I work with. It makes me grow as a person. And so I think it's a real reminder about how we all need to have these creative passions, no matter what we do outside of that. And organizations that can really support people so that they're not working too many hours or being bullied on the job or whatever it is, so we can all have our creative passions. And so I'll kind of just leave you with that. That's really been my biggest lesson in the last, it's only been 5.5 years since my dad died. And that is when I've done all this writing. Not that I didn't like to write before, because I did, but thank you. So I'm going to stop with that. Happy Saturday, everybody. Go do something great or tuck up with a book. And I'm thinking about all of you. Thanks. Bye.
Very nice.
Oh, see, she said very nice. I haven't even ended it. Okay. Bye, guys.